You love your gymnastic strength training, but you also want to train a little bit of legs on the side, just a little bit, but you don't want your legs to balloon up too much that you cannot planche any longer. You'll have a reason for why you can't planche, but it's not one that you want. What are some ways that we can train legs? Because you still can, and we can develop some strength, we can develop some power, some flexibility. What's stuff we can do without them growing up into ham hocks? Let's have a look at a few different methods of training we can do for our lower body alongside our gymnastic strength and efficiently get better at both. The first type of training we can do is plyometrics. Plyometrics is going to be any kind of combination of jumping, landings, changing direction, all of that stuff that doesn't involve adding weight, but improving the amount of tolerance our body can take in the stress of landing, in the power output of jumping. We can progress with that. This is also going to help our tendons, ligaments, our joints to tolerate more load, and that can have a much better result in terms of longevity for how the body feels as we get older. There's so much to unpack with plyometrics where we can look at all different ways to jump and land and change direction and different body shapes, double leg, single leg, that it's very difficult to get bored of this type of training. It also doesn't take any equipment, so you can do this at the gym in a very small space, or you can also just go to a local green space, a park, a field, an oval, on the side of the road, and you can find a decent workout to do. Power, agility, and tolerating impact and stress on the body, those are the best things you're going to gain from plyometric training. Another one that you could do is arguably gymnastic strength training's best friend, which is tumbling. Now, obviously, this is much more heavily skill-based, and you also likely need some kind of equipment to help you get better safely. But tumbling is a really great combination with gymnastic strength because you're likely training in a gymnastic center, so you can utilize the mats, the trampolines, the foam pit, and it's also very, very fun. The drawback of this is that you do need ideally some coaching and some direction, otherwise it ends up being more of a risk due to how impactful and demanding this is without any other prerequisite experience in this way of moving. But tumbling is a great way to combine power and strength, tolerating impact. It's kind of like a fancy plyometric. So this is another great combination of how to train your lower body but make it really, really fun alongside your planche, handstand push-ups, and front lever. You can also change direction as well. So whereas the first two I was talking about focused way more on the strength and power of your lower body, we can also look to invest our training into our flexibility and our mobility, focusing on movements that are active and passive for the lower body to either increase range and train towards skills like middle splits, front splits, pancake, or just improve our range of motion in general so that we just feel more comfortable. A lot of people doing gymnastic strength probably find they're more on the tighter side. So investing your time into things like this that just really help open you up and feel better, not just in training, but also in life, can make a really positive impact. So this will not blow up your legs, but it will make you feel so much better in your lower body. You can also look at this type of training as the yin to the gymnastic strength as yang. So where that is very intense and aggressive, this can be more of a relaxing part of your training, or maybe just the decompressing of all the effort that you were putting into your planches and front levers. Also, don't look at this type of training as just getting looser and more flexible in that sense. There is a lot of room here to build strength at these end ranges. It's just the strength at an end range like this is the equivalent of currently 1 kilo ankle weights. It's not the equivalent of 150 kilo back squat. So you can see that you can still build strength with weights with this type of training, but it's not heavy training that inspires muscle growth of the quads, glutes, and hamstrings. Hey, look, no one denies legs are a planche's worst enemy, okay? And everything I've been saying has been in the voice of reason to not strength train your legs, but that's just to optimize gymnastic strength. That is not to vilify weights training. I've got weight on a bar right now. I'm gonna squat it. So what I want to get across here is that you still can do weights training. you still can squat. You just don't necessarily have to progressive overload a 5x5 or build up to your 1 rep max. Putting conservative weights on the bar or with dumbbells and doing higher repetitions can still be conducive to effective leg training that doesn't become detrimental to your body weight training. Consider that. We can also take some of the movements that we do in plyometrics and we can load them up by holding dumbbells for our box jump. We can even play around with the use of med balls and slam balls so that we are getting some explosive training in with a small amount of weight. These movements can have big payoffs that again aren't at the cost of our legs becoming Tom Platz. I'm making out like it's very easy to blow up your legs, and it's definitely not. It's just we want to pursue not down the path of traditional strength training or bodybuilding training, but we still want to get some degree of stimulus for these babies that take us through our lives. At the end of the day, we probably just want to think about having no legs is the best, but we have them. We have to deal with that reality. Given we're not elite athletes and we are pragmatic about our training, we want to put some effort into them rather than ignore them. Ignoring them is silly, right? What if my life changes? And then taking those power-based moves like the med ball or holding dumbbells for the box jumps, we can also just go completely down the route of movements like sprinting. Sprinting is so intense and demanding on the body, but it doesn't add more and more weight. So it's a way that you can get really strong and powerful legs without the need to add muscle mass onto it as you get better. It just won't work that way. You will get stronger and more powerful, but you won't have big fat okies carrying you around, okay? And your final option is body weight training for the lower body. So we're talking about things like Nordic curls, pistol squats, dragon squats. There's lots of different ways that you can do body weight strength training for the lower body without ever needing to add any weights to the position. There's a lot of variation, there's a lot of progression, and there's a lot of epicness to be found in mastering these movements. Look, ultimately these things are holding me back from achieving my body weight goals, but if you are sensible about your training and you want to improve and get better lifelong, you're going to acknowledge that your legs do need some attention rather than just completely ignoring them, which is going to create some gaps in your overall ability. I've given you a huge list of body weight, plyometric, stretching, a lot of different things that you can do to round out your training game while you focus on your gymnastic strength. Check out my programs if you're interested in hybrid training, combining weightlifting with bodyweight training, or the planche program if you're wanting to invest heavily in your planche. And I'll see you for the next one.